Konnichiwa. Badmon things, you know? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Badmon Jackson back again with yet another video. And today, we back with another reaction. Yes, sir. Been a little minute. Today, we're gonna be reacting to Being Half Japanese in Japan, and it's by Asian Boss. Before we dive on in it though, please do me this favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And hit that bell button so you can be notified whenever I drop a new video like this. Also, share it with your family and friends. But that's all I got. So without further ado, konnichiwa. Let's dive on in.
Hi everybody, it's Hiroko from Asian Boss. One of the more curious facts about Japanese society is that it is culturally and ethnically homogeneous, with over 98% of Japanese citizens being considered ethnic Japanese. And comparatively speaking, there is only a very small proportion of citizens who are either non-Japanese or have mixed Japanese blood known as half-breeds.
I've heard
While
that.
many were born in Japan, speak Japanese, and contribute to the Japanese economy, their Japaneseness is contested and considered by many as not being fully Japanese. But this creates both unique challenges and unexpected advantages. To understand better what they actually face, today we're going to meet 3 Hahu Japanese to discuss their experiences of living in Japan. Curious? Let's meet our guests and talk more.
This reminds me, there are like 2 professional athletes that I know of that are from Japan that are half black and half Japanese. And like they said, Japanese people do, you know what I'm saying, a very good job. Really not a good job, but they just gatekeep they ethnicity, they race, or whatever, their heritage a lot. So like, these 2 athletes weren't even considered nationally Japanese by the Japanese people themselves. Even though they were born and raised in Japan, they weren't considered nationally Japanese until they made it pro or accomplished like a great feat within that sport. And then like, okay, see, now you're proving your worth, so now you can be Japanese or whatever. I'm just like, that's stupid, bro. That's terrible. Like, at that point, if you make it that far and do all that without them claiming you, you shouldn't even want to be claimed by them anymore, to be honest, at that point. And like, the 2 athletes, you know what I'm saying, one is Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, you know, the one that beat Serena Williams, you know what I'm saying, a couple years ago and stuff like that. She's won. They didn't claim her until she won that title. And I was just like, dang, bro, that's tough. Because, you know, and especially since it's your heritage and they want to embrace it, and they you know, embrace it as a big part of their identity and who they are, because they were literally born and raised there, so they can't not embrace that. But it's just the fact that, you know what I'm saying, they didn't even embrace you until you kind of quote unquote proved yourself, kind of sort of. And then the other one is Rui Hachimura, NBA forward, plays for the Wizards. He was drafted 2 seasons ago. And yeah, so I mean, like, it sucks. I mean, maybe now they'll start being a little bit more accepting, especially since, you know, when it comes to the media and everything, there's being more prevalent seeing these, you know what I'm saying, half Japanese people starting to, you know, gain more popularity and things like that. So maybe they'll be more accepting of those people in their culture now. Kind of doubt it, because even then they're still like very, you know what I'm saying, You know what I'm saying? And I've been to Thailand, and I've experienced that already. And Thailand has a lot more brown people than Japan. So I can only imagine how much worse it is over there. So yeah, man. So, but yeah, this is one thing that just came to my mind for it. You know what I'm saying? Get right back into it. This guy, see the black guy sitting in the center. He definitely has more black features than he does Japanese, from first look at least. So I can see why they definitely would, you know what I'm saying, have a hard time claiming him.
Thanks for joining us today. To start things off, would you introduce yourself to everyone?
My name is Shunki Egawa, and I'm turning 27. I'm a musician.
I'm Seon Tanaka. I'm currently 19 years old. And
He's a model.
I am a fashion model for a living and a student.
I'm Alicia, and I'm somewhere in my 20s.
What's your last name, though?
And I'm currently a PhD student.
So we brought you all in today because you're considered hafu.
Hafu.
Before
I
we
remember hearing
start things off, would you explain what hafu means?
Well, half is a term used in Japan that describes someone who is half Japanese and half another country. So my other half is from Bahamas. I was born and raised in Bahamas
West Indian.
for
So
15
West
years.
Indian
So I
Japanese.
spent basically my whole life there. And then since I'm only 19 now,
Yeah, I can
I've
hear
only
the
been here for 4
Bohemian
years from high school.
accent.
I'm half Italian, but I was born and raised in the US, so I don't know anything about it.
Oh, I thought they were
Mine is Korean.
growing
I
up
was
in
born
Japan.
and raised in Korea. Like, I stayed there for 20 years.
Wow.
Dang.
So
But they live in
I
Japan
actually
now,
didn't
though,
have
I
that
guess.
much chances to speak Japanese.
So are you considered a foreigner in here because of your background?
I don't think, because of how I look,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really treat me as like a foreigner.
I
'cause,
can
like,
see
they
that,
don't really
yeah.
recognize me as a hafu unless I tell them.
Yeah.
So like, but right after I tell them, they kind of treat me as a foreigner kind of bit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you?
I would say for me, I'm probably like
Hey.
the complete opposite. So
That man looked just out laughing. He was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm already know it. Bro. Nah. You get treated different. You getting treated different, bro. Though.
at first, people would think that I'm like full foreigner, but when I start speaking Japanese, then they would understand that, oh, okay, well, he can speak Japanese, so that means he must be half. And then I get treated more like a Japanese person.
Okay.
And your family name is Tanaka.
More like one, but probably
is
not
very
fully
Japanese.
like one.
Every time I go to like the doctor's office, because they would call you by your last name, like everyone would be stunned because they don't expect me to stand up when they call Tanaka.
That's
They might
crazy. I'm
think
me,
that
bro.
I'm like Johnson or like some other thing. Yeah.
I know it's a bit too personal question, but
I
like,
mean,
how
bro,
did-
like I imagine that they'd be like, "Hey, what's a common Japanese last name? Hashimoto or something? Aaron Hashimoto." You just stand up. They would look like, "That's not you." You no, that's not you. It's not my
Did your parents meet? Do you know about that?
I heard that my mom and dad met in Korea, and my mom translated for him because she spoke Japanese and Korean both.
So my mom was in the entertainment section of a hotel, so she would always have to be moved around to different countries.
like a singer or something.
And then she eventually ended up in Bahamas,
Wow.
where she like met my dad, and then they got along and they
Yeah, they got laid.
started dating,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they got married. They got married first, and then like a few years down the line, then they had me.
And how about you?
I think my mom and dad met in Hawaii. And my mom was on vacation in Hawaii, and I think
She
my
half
dad
white,
was working at the
I guess.
hotel. But they met, I think their groups of friends like kind of like came together, and I think my dad asked my mom for her. I don't know. I guess not digits because I don't think they had like So I think my mom went back to Japan after her trip to Hawaii, and they wrote letters back and forth. And I think he proposed to her in a letter.
That's kind of cute, bro. That's kind of cute, bro. That's kind of
Right?
cute. That's
And
kind of
then,
cute.
Yeah, and then she went to Hawaii. They got married, and
Whoa.
I was born.
So, how did your grandparents reacted to your parents' love?
Hearing from like my mom, like stories from my mom, like she said that she didn't feel very welcomed by my dad's parents, especially my grandma. I guess like they were kind of Italians tend to also keep the
Oh,
Italian
so
bloodline.
she's half
I
Italian.
see.
Like
Okay.
Italian is like a very long history, and like they
That
tend
that
to
is
hold
true,
a lot
bro.
of pride about
Italians
being
do have
Italian.
that.
So I think
You know
the
what I'm
fact
saying?
that my
Mamma
dad
mia.
chose to marry outside
Pizzeria.
of that, it was a little difficult for them to accept. I don't think that they said it directly, but I think my mom just felt isolated a lot of the times, and yeah.
I just heard that my mom's side grandparents, they hated about the marriage because they're Koreans, and Koreans always had this conflict between Japan and Korea.
Yeah.
So, like,
I've heard about
yeah,
that.
I heard that they
heard about
really
that.
had a difficult time. to get
I
along.
can see that.
So like my grandparents, my mom's grandparents, they didn't wanted to see my parents until they got the first child, which is my older brother. So my older brother was the trigger to get along.
Oh, okay.
My family inside of Bahamas, like they didn't really care that much because they're island people.
Yeah,
So they're like a
exactly,
big
bro.
family. Like
Yeah.
my dad is is like inside of a family of 6, so he has 2 other brothers and 3 sisters.
Yeah.
So
The
to the
West Indian
Bahamian
families be
people,
big,
they
boy,
were
not
just
gonna lie
like,
to you.
oh, just more family.
Right.
To my Japanese side, they heavily disagreed.
I'll
with
be
it.
this home.
So like, like around the start, my dad actually received like a blood sign letter from my granddad.
A blood sign
so
letter?
as in, like he cut his finger and then like sealed the envelope
Golly, bro, is
with
that
his,
serious?
with his blood and said like, leave my daughter alone. But my dad was just like, oh well, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, them the West Indians don't care, bro. Them West Indians
I'm
don't
still
care.
gonna be with her.
Me no care.
So
Me
there
no
was
care
that.
about that.
So cool.
Yeah, my dad was just like chill about it. He did because he was just focused on like my mom. So even when he came to Japan a lot of times before their marriage, like my grandparents over here, like they would just not be home at the time that they came. So like my dad and my granddad met each other for the first time at like my dad's marriage at the marriage. My granddad asked my dad the question, "You must hate me so much. Like you must really hate me because you haven't like I'm always avoiding you and stuff." But my dad responded with, "How can I hate someone I've never met?" Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So since then they understood like their
See, bro,
philosophies,
yeah, bro.
I guess, are like the same.
yeah.
And then they became like best friends. I don't know why. They went from
Hey.
avoiding to like being best friends. And then
I
even
mess with that, bro. I
until
mess with
my
that.
granddad like passed away, like the last person he wanted to speak to was like my dad because they were just like that
Aw.
close. And
That's it's so inspirational, bro.
well, I mean, his daughter was there too, but like, it's just that my dad and him,
Hey,
like,
bro,
they
it is-
just like really got
You like
along,
the son I
just
never
like
had.
good.
Paul, do you feel like there are
That's
more
crazy.
and more half the people in Japan?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, yeah.
Like
I mean, I feel like there's more
kids.
biracial,
Oh,
half
yeah.
kids
More?
everywhere in the world. Honestly, it's
Why
just
do you
like the
think,
world
like,
getting so populated
that's
and stuff
happening?
nowadays. It's just hard to not be
Is it
having
just
that.
because like Japanese people actually admires the half
Yeah.
and the half
True.
kids
Get a
are
half
really
kid.
cute and like they really expect the half kids to be good looking,
Yeah,
really pretty.
I also think
Like that mixed baby.
more people are coming into Japan too.
That's
So like there's
true.
just like more races, there's more opportunity to meet new people. And I think Japanese people are also venturing outside of
Yeah.
Japan more than before.
They are.
That's my opinion. I don't
Both
know.
ways.
But I think so.
I think
there's
so.
just, like,
I
more
don't know for sure,
opportunity
but I
to
think
meet
they are
different
too.
kinds of people, and I think
Cause I've seen a lot more Asian people, like especially in the Caribbean. They show have been migrating out there. A lot more Chinese, Japanese, Korean. You see a lot more occupying the islands and stuff like that. So they definitely are migrating and branching out more. And then of course more people going to Japan and different places like that for different reasons. So you're definitely gonna get more intermingling. So yeah.
also becoming, I think, more accepted. You know, to have mixed couples and mixed kids, and I think it's just maybe just increasing.
I see. And yeah, like when we turn on the TV in here, we see so many half models, right?
Like you said,
That's
like
true.
they're on TV and stuff often, but I feel like the half people who are on TV are those pretty.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So it's not necessarily that we
desirable ones.
all
whatever.
half people are beautiful. It's just like Japanese or any other race.
Seriously, seriously.
Bro,
No, and then I tell them that I'm a half, people will be like, oh. I'm like, what's the reaction supposed to mean?
like you I mean, like you have, but you look the same.
But it's
Yeah,
true
I'm
though, like they really expect
That's
the
funny.
half people to be good looking or pretty.
True.
And when the person's not actually that pretty
Yeah.
or good looking, the people will have a weird reaction about that.
Is
I can
there
see
any
that, I can
house
see that.
hierarchy here in Japan?
It's like a lot of my friends are half Filipino and half Japanese, and they said that they were envious of the fact that I'm half Italian because they feel that they have to hide their Filipino side because they feel that they're not accepted as well in Japan, so they say that they're half Spanish because it sounds better.
It sounds better.
Yeah, I see that, I see
so
that.
that was kind of like the first
And
time
Filipino
that I had
people
heard
can really
something
pass
like
the
that.
Spanish
So
people
it's,
anyways, to be honest with you.
like very
They really can. A lot of them
possible, like when I
can.
hear everyone's stories that maybe it is like half Caucasian is getting a little bit like I guess like on TV and it's more considered maybe like an ideal, which is like a very strange transition for me because in the US, especially where I grew up, it was literally like all Caucasians and then me and my mom. So like we were always kind of like isolated and a little bit discriminated against. In the US, being half Japanese, you're not considered Caucasian. So white privilege was not something that I was experiencing. If anything, I was like bullied all the time. Like
can see
we
that, I
got-
can see
when
that.
I was with my mom, we were ignored in restaurants, you know, like, and I get viewed as completely Asian. Like when I would go to restaurants with my dad, who is white, like I would make sure to say in front of the waitress, Dad, because I didn't want them to think he's on a date with like a young Asian girl. Like that happens a lot. So
I can see- yeah,
I always
yeah,
like
yeah,
have
for
to
sure,
like,
for sure.
white people don't view me as white. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I can see
So, like,
that.
I never felt
he
like
does
a
have a
part
lot of the Asian
the
features.
Italians or like the white people.
So,
It's
like-
like when I came here, like I'm one of you guys. I'm Japanese, and everyone's like, "You look white." I'm like, "What's happening?" Like,
It's funny.
Yeah,
It's
like,
funny because he
I-
really does have like both
Yeah.
features. I can see why both sides
It's
would be
I
like
mean,
that.
In Bahamas,
It's kind of
like
tough.
the
It's
same
tough.
thing, right? Because even though like I'm pretty dark, but then everyone is like this color. Like not to say the joke, but it's like people are like pretty dark.
Yeah.
But people are actually like pretty black. So like when people see me, they don't treat me as like a Bahamian, as a local. Like they obviously think like, oh, he's mixed with something, right?
But I've seen a lot of
and then, like,
Bahamians
some
that are
people
his
just
color,
call me,
though.
like straight like white boy or like Asian boy. You know? Even though I look like this, they're just like Asian boy. You know? And
That's
it's-
funny. That's funny.
Sense, but
the Asian boy.
Yeah,
like it's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
they are.
Even though I look like this, they can like tell that there's something different.
what kind of stereotypes do Japanese people have towards half people?
Personally, because I'm half black, then people would just think, oh, then he must be good at basketball. He must be good at running. And I mean, but that's just depending on the other race.
Yeah, that does depend on the other
I
race.
don't know
Yeah.
if this is kind of stereotype or not, but then like when I tell them that I'm half Korean, they think, I don't know why, but then they first think it's North Korea. So like they'll be like asking me about how North Koreans are living and how they're whatever the things about the North Korea, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean,
I'm from South Korea and I don't really know anything about North Korea. But then,
he
like,
said he's from the fun
you know, like
Korea.
how a couple of years ago there were a lot of troubles between Japan and North Korea, and still they're going on. But then, like,
Yeah. For sure, for
I
sure.
think that's the reason why they have more about North Koreans
In their
than
mind.
South Korean. It's because like now that I've changed my Japanese, like they wouldn't notice that I'm half Korean anymore. But then like I used to have this Korean accent, a really strong Korean accent in my Japanese, so like they would just notice it right away, and they would just go like, "Are you from North Korea? Are you like a spy?" I'm like, and like when I tell them that I'm a half Korean, they think like I eat kimchi every day,
That's funny.
and that's the reason why I have like better skin.
That's
So
funny.
like people always ask me, "Do you eat kimchi every day?" I'm like,
I mean, you know, that's the stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
You know, that's kind of funny. You know how Asians and stuff, you know, they stereotype amongst themselves. I mean, then again, I feel like pretty much every race community does that, depending on your ethnicity and things like that. Like black people, of course, we stereotype Africans and West Indians and stuff like that in different ways. Sometimes, I mean, me personally, you know what I'm saying, I might from time to time, but but that is true though. So it's kind of funny to see that too from their perspective and shit like that. So it's like, you know, nobody's safe, bro.
Yeah, not every day though, you know.
It's the same with black people, man.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Grape soda.
When you're from the
drink.
US,
Great.
eat hamburgers every day, hot dogs every day, like.
So what do you
He
think?
did, bro. You see, he got a little side after he said the grape soda price. You know, you didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to put your input into that, but yeah. You know what I'm saying? We you know, I didn't really ask for your input, but okay. Great.
in general, like we mentioned before, like half people are considered beautiful or pretty or something, which I think is totally perpetuated by the media, because that's just like the type of people, half people that we're exposed to more often.
That is true,
and
though.
also
That
the
is true.
character of that person tends to be a little bit baka. They're not stupid in real life or anything like that, but you play that character like, and where they ask you to be a little bit more like aggressive or things that Japanese people wouldn't. Typical Japanese people wouldn't say. Like even when I was in an agency and I like talked about potentially doing TV, like I said at the time, like I don't feel comfortable enough with my Japanese because I was still learning. They said actually it's more interesting, it's funnier if you mess up. So actually don't study Japanese. So like that's kind of like the image that they wanted to put on TV. So sometimes it's like I wish I could change that.
So in general, how do
that's
Japanese people treat half people?
I think it's gonna be different from you guys because like they wouldn't really notice that I'm a half person unless
Didn't they say this
tell
already?
them that I'm half. When I tell them that I'm a half Korean, they admire for like 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds they were like, but you know, but you look like a Korean, maybe not, you know.
So sometimes like for me, because I am so close with my mom and because I feel very connected to my Japanese roots, like sometimes it makes me feel a little lonely, like oh, like why won't you see me as one of you, like why do you have to like be so careful around me? But I know that it's always good intention, which actually makes it harder to like say something about it,
back.
because I don't want to offend them either, because I know they're just trying to be nice to me. Like one time I had a boyfriend in Japan, like it was a long time ago, but I went to visit his parents and they knew that I was half Italian, so they ordered
I didn't know
pizza
Italian.
while they ate Japanese food. And I knew that they were just trying to be kind. But at the same
That's
time,
funny,
I was
that's
like,
funny,
I
though,
can
that's
eat
funny, though.
other foods. Pizza. And so it's kind of just like that. Like I knew that they were just trying to be welcoming. Like we ordered your pizza because you're half Italian and you're from the US, and I was like, oh, thank you.
That's
But I
funny,
really
bro. That's
wanna
funny.
eat
That's
the
funny.
udon. But yeah,
Oh.
it's hard because I feel like really most of the time they really don't have bad intentions. Like they're really just trying to be kind. It's
Yeah, they just
more
ignorant
you
to it,
said,
but they
like,
don't
a lack
understand
of,
it. That's the thing.
Knowledge or experience. Like it's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
first
you know what I'm
time.
saying?
So like they try to be careful and they try to be kind.
Yeah.
Only like one time I've experienced like straight up, I think like experience like your halves. Like I wasn't allowed into a restaurant with my half friends, so they were like, oh, like no gaijin, and we were like, we're
In Japan?
Japanese, yeah, in Japan.
gaijin.
And like my other two friends were born and raised in Japan too.
That's crazy.
But they don't look very Japanese, I guess. Like the type of half that they were, like they looked more like foreign, and so like we weren't allowed in the restaurant.
But like you
So
guys
that was the first time
were
trying to go there?
speaking them in Japanese.
in Japanese, but they still answer us in English.
Oh my god!
That's crazy.
That happens to me a lot.
That's
Yeah, that happens to me
crazy.
a lot. Like even at Disneyland, they'll be like, "Name sama desu ka?" How many people? And I'll be like, "3 desu." Like, go to number 3. I'm like, I just spoke to you in Japanese. I don't know why, but yeah. So I think they're trying to be.
They're
kind,
just
like, they looked at
conditioned
my
to it.
face
I
and
think they're
they
just
assumed
conditioned
I
to do
couldn't
that anyways.
Speak Japanese, even though I was just speaking to them. I don't know
Yeah.
in Japanese.
Maybe
I
they were
think it
panicked.
depends.
Yeah, I really think it's mostly kindness, except for the restaurant. But
Yeah, that.
yeah. I went to a yakitori place in Shibuya with my American friends and my Japanese friends. So some of us can read Japanese and some of us couldn't. So we asked for an English menu and a Japanese menu. And we noticed that the prices on the English menu were
Higher?
2 times higher.
That's crazy.
And so we were like trying to figure out like, is there a difference in the amount that they're giving or something? Like it couldn't possibly be that
No,
they're
they just
like,
trying to
charging
exploit
foreigners
it.
more money.
Yeah, they get
But
more
we
money,
asked the waiter,
'cause they
like,
don't know.
why are the prices different? And he called over his manager, and his manager started yelling at us in English, like, tax, tax. We're like, tax? Like, isn't that like added at the end of
I
the
mean, like,
check anyway?
I
So,
mean,
what does
brother,
that
it don't make
mean?
sense.
And he was like, foreigners don't know how to pay tax. And we're like, what? Like if it's written in the check, like if it's included, of course we'll pay it. So they kind of got like found out that they were charging foreigners
Yeah,
more
of course,
money.
of course.
'Cause usually you wouldn't ask for
Yeah,
both
because you
menus,
wouldn't
know?
understand. Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
yeah.
happened to order both.
Because
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like
It's
about
just
you
like,
guys,
well, like I said again, Thailand experience. When we was in Thailand, they did the same thing with their menus and the food menus. They did that, and then especially with like the taxi fares and stuff. If you spoke English, they pretty much doubled the taxi fare because they knew that you didn't really understand, the currency and stuff like that. So because we had somebody with us, like a guide with us that was from Thailand and stuff like that, and he, of course he spoke Thai and all that. So like he understood, and I was like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? They really getting their bag, but they really finessing all these tourists and stuff that come through. You gonna get charged 2 to 3 times more than you actually should, just because you don't understand, you know what I'm saying, the country or the language or anything like that. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Because I'm half, like, if I go with my Japanese friends or non-Japanese friends to restaurants, I'll feel the difference in, like, the service. Because they'll view me as a foreigner or as a Japanese, depending on what language I'm speaking in or
It's like,
who I'm
isn't
with.
it illegal to do that?
I'm pretty sure. That's just why, like, he kind of, like, freaked out and, like, yelled at us, like, tax. And I was like,
Tax.
So do you have any advantages that normal Japanese people don't have?
If your Japanese doesn't come out right, because if you look half, they might just be like, oh, okay, you're just half. So that's like a pass.
the half pass.
The half pass.
Half pass.
The half pass.
It's like a freebie when you don't know or you make a mistake in, like, for example, the language or not knowing the culture or something. You can kind of just be like, oh, it's because I'm half, I don't
Yeah.
really know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're more likely to be more forgiving towards
Yeah.
Yeah.
your actions if you don't know something, but there's kind of like a limit to it.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
can't really, like, use it in, like,
Don't-
every
you can't use it too
situation.
much.
You're not supposed to use it every time.
I see.
And then there's like, say, job opportunities, because I guess we're half as well. I mean, because of their background, you know, like,
Oh,
say
yeah, I
you
see,
were
I
like,
see,
you
I
know,
see.
Yeah, yeah.
because your
Right,
background
yeah,
is, you were able to get like the English job.
Right, right,
and then
right.
because I'm half, I'm able to be like a model now, you know.
In terms of your identity, have you had big struggle with, like, growing up? Have you thought, like, oh, who am I exactly or something?
Yeah, every day.
Even now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
every
yeah.
half goes through it,
Yeah,
right? Because they
definitely.
think like, what country do I really
Yeah.
belong to, right? Because it's like both countries, someone's saying something about you. So it's like, then which country do I really belong to? So
And depending on the person who's, like, looking at you too, they view in a completely different
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always that stereotype. Like, I think you're always eating hamburgers. And I was like, I barely eat hamburgers. Like, I don't know, like,
Exactly.
why you think that, but yeah. So it's kind of like that stereotype also kind of gets, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
know.
stereotype. And Bahamas is like pretty weird actually, because like for Bahamian people, and when they think Asian, they think everything is just Chinese.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right? So
They
it's like,
do.
when I say like, oh yeah,
Not
I'm
just
half
being, but
Japanese,
all of
and then they say
Caribbean,
like,
bro.
where in China is that, right? And
You know what I mean?
Oh
Okay.
Like, bro, like whenever they see somebody that has Asian features, they be like, China man. It's a China man. Now that's literally what they say. Well, it don't matter where they from, but you China man. You know what I'm saying?
But like it's stereotype, but they just don't know really. So they say like, do you eat like rat and dog and stuff? So like I'd be like,
They think that a lot too.
you know, I'm just like, okay,
They
no,
do.
I don't. But
That's why they opened up a Chinese shop at a restaurant, bro. And all them islanders was like, nah. They was like, nah. All them stray dogs. There's a lot of stray dogs in the Caribbean too. On the streets, there's a lot of stray dogs that walk around. They was like, nah, we don't eat none Chinese. We don't eat none of that Chinese food, man. We don't eat that Chinese man. And they'll be saying that to eat the carrot like, hey, bro, y'all childish, bro. Like, yeah, y'all trifling with that. They trifling for that, bro.
I think every half goes through identity crisis at one point inside their life, right? So I mean, to deal with it, every half does a certain does different things. Like maybe you get your mind off of it, like
Yeah.
with hobbies, or you try to like not just hobbies, but there's other ways to like deal with it as well. Some people go to therapy because they want someone to listen to their problems. So I mean, in terms of like how to deal with it, that would be different with every half. But the fact is, every half does go through an identity crisis at one point in their life.
When you were young, how aware were you that you're not fully Japanese?
When I was young, I didn't know that I was part Japanese. I thought I was full Korean first, because I was born and raised there.
Mhm. It
And
makes sense.
my dad kind of visited me sometimes. So like, I didn't think he was a foreigner, you know, like I just thought that he wasn't really good with Korean, but didn't think him as a foreign person. But then like, all of a sudden, like when I went to the elementary school, I had to go to a Japanese school that was in Korea, and I didn't speak any Japanese. I thought everyone knew how to speak Korean, but then like when I went there, like people didn't know how to speak Korean at all, and they speak different language, and my parents will tell me that they're Japanese people from Japan, and I'm like, why am I here, you know? So like, and then like I finally realized that I was part Japanese, and didn't really try to learn Japanese because I was just in first grade, you know, like I wouldn't want to study a language, you know? But then like just eventually just got along with them and learned how to speak.
I would say
That's cool.
that I'm like the opposite, because it's like it's kind of obvious for me, because I mean, just inside of my house, it's just like very black dude, very yellow person. You know,
I see.
so for me, and then my mom would constantly speak Japanese to me. Like she would use no English to me. So she only speaks Japanese to me, and then my dad only speaks English to me. And then like say my skin complexion is already different from like everyone around me. Plus my hair as well. I would say like my hair when I used to do it younger, I haven't done it like today, but if I say wash it and gel it properly, it would just fall down. It would just be wavy, you know. So it would just be like actual like half. So it's not like fully curly and like hard, and it's not fully straight. It's just like wavy and it's just like curly. So I had to be like aware of that from a child, and then everyone else around me is just like saying that I'm Asian from like a child. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, my surrounding, there were like no other Asian people. So I kind of actually thought I was like full Asian. I don't know why, even though I had a white dad. Like, but I didn't look like Caucasian compared to my other friends.
Yeah.
I looked different. And
Definitely,
they would
definitely.
mention that I look different. Like my eyes are smaller or something. Like they would be like, can you see? Like, yes, I can see.
Oh, did they do this to you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
my
not right.
God.
They well, kids be vile with that type
So
of
I kind of
stuff.
really thought of myself as full Asian for a long time.
Boy.
Because, like, I don't know. I wasn't really viewed as Italian anyway. So I think it was when I started
Yeah,
visiting
you definitely
Japan
wouldn't
as
see
I
her
was
and think
older,
Italian, to be honest
like
with you.
maybe in high school. Like I
She
noticed
got that Walt
that,
Disney pendant
my
though.
clothing,
That
like
Mickey
my
Mouse
style and
head,
stuff
that's
was a little
clean.
bit different. I couldn't speak the language at all when I would come to Japan. So my mom would translate for me all the time, and people would just make a lot of comments like, oh, like you don't look Japanese, like 全然日本人っぽくない, or your style is very American, or stuff like that. So then that's when I was like, wait, like what's happening? So like it kind of things started happening in high school, and I was a little bit more aware of how people were viewing me. Like when I was younger, I just didn't care. I was just like wearing what I wanted to wear and stuff. But like as you get older, you know, people start making comments, especially in Japan, like, oh, like your clothing style is different, your nose is high or something. Like those kinds of comments were coming, and I was like, what's happening? So I think that's when I started like feeling, okay, I might not be accepted fully as Japanese here. So maybe I really do look half or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, how did it make you feel when you like realize, or when you think of that? How does it make you feel?
I mean, I would like surprised. So say like in Bahamas, people would say that I eat rat and dog, and then in Japan,
That's
when
crazy.
I used to
Cause he
come,
really
like,
don't
every
even look
summer.
that,
And I remember there was this one
light,
time that I
and his hair don't look
went to my friend's
super
house,
straight.
and his
It's definitely
grandmother
looser
was there.
curls, but
And his grandmother
plenty of people in
didn't look
Caribbean that
really
look like him.
excited to meet me, right? Right? And then like at the time, I don't think she knew I probably spoke Japanese. So she took like my friend into the other room and then said like, "なんでそんなに汚い人家に持ってくんの?" At the time, I didn't know what it meant, but then like a year or two later,
Dang.
when I like thought about it, I was like, "Huh, that's pretty racist."
that
I was
is,
like,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was like,
that's
"Oh,
pretty,
that was
racist.
racist."
Like
I was
facts,
like,
man.
okay.
That ain't
But
pretty.
then,
That is
like,
racist. That's crazy.
when I realized it like 1 or 2 years down the line, it was like, okay, I don't belong to Bahamas, but I don't belong to Japan either. So it's just like I have to stay like in the middle, basically.
See, that's crazy.
That's
That's
like
crazy.
what I really realized. Yeah.
Like I said, bro, I've seen a lot of West Indian people that look like him.
But I
Like,
think that's what,
The skin complexion, the hair texture, and stuff like that. Yeah, bro. He don't look that
we're all three
different
kinds of mixes,
from many
but
creepy people that
it's
I've
like we
seen.
can understand each other.
Like
It's
from the
Yeah.
I would think he was mixed more with a Carib from how he was mixed with a Japanese person, honestly.
But it's like
That's crazy.
we've all
That's
gone
crazy.
through different experiences and probably different degrees of experiences. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but we're all like not really belonging anywhere. So like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
belonging here?
Yeah. We're just
Why
like,
am I
yeah.
so corny today?
Yeah,
But
we're just like here. We're just like here.
Yeah.
We're just right here.
I know exactly how you feel.
I see. So in what ways do you feel like a Japanese person and a non-Japanese person?
Now that I've been in Japan for 5 years, I think, like when I was in this izakaya working, people used to call me a nickname.
Oh.
Ayamari Samurai.
I apologize. That's
Ayamari
funny.
Samurai. So like, whenever there was a problem going on with the customers, I went there to apologize for them. But then that was the first thing that I thought what Japanese people are like. Like they apologize a lot.
But true.
Apologize a lot, meaning like, but then they're really thinking about the other person, you know, like trying to be nice to another person, but also it means like they're avoiding the conflict.
Conflict, yeah,
They
yeah.
want to finish it as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I'm apologizing, I feel like I'm being a Japanese person.
I see.
That's right. Not actually facing the conflict, but apologize it and let's finish it here. Like that's when I feel like I'm a Japanese person.
I mean, I guess when you have to speak like keigo and you have to like do like tatemae, like because you're basically creating like a wall between yourself and the other person,
Right.
which I wasn't really used to when I was in Bahamas. I would just like talk to everyone like how like just friendly, you know? But in Japan you have to like treat like ranks in a certain type of way. So coming to Japan and learning that, I understood like, okay, I have to treat people in this type of way.
I see.
Because you don't really get to have that connection with the person that you want to, right? Yeah. So like, I mean, I don't like it, but it's like something that you kind of have to.
Yeah.
do.
I guess I would say like after moving to Japan, I think I picked up a lot of mannerisms that I like. Yeah, ko. Yeah. In English, I'll be like, oh, thanks. Like I've been studying, but in Japanese, no.
Yeah, you have to be like,
that's
no.
not true. You have to be like more humble.
Yeah.
And this like movement, like,
Yeah.
like in the U.S., it'd be like this like smell. Yeah, 大丈夫です I don't need it. Like this like mannerism that I've noticed, like I'm always going like this. Like even when I'm talking on the phone, like if I talk on the phone in Japanese, I go, hi, no one's there.
Yeah,
But I'm
no
like,
one's there,
hi, わかりました.
That's
But if I
crazy.
talk
That's
in
crazy.
English, okay, got it. I wouldn't do this. So like I feel like my mannerisms have changed.
Huh.
Like,
That's
how
that's
about,
that's crazy.
like,
That's
when you
crazy.
feel like, actually, I don't feel like a Japanese.
Yeah.
What's the moment of that?
I think it's when I decide that I don't care what people think of me. Because in Japan, like I feel like I try so hard to fit in all the time and like wear like the proper like clothing that's like Japanese girls wear and like try to fit the style. And sometimes it's just like, you know what? I don't care. And then that's when I feel like, okay, I'm in Alicia mode, not Fumi mode. So like I'll like switch. Like there was always like people say like there's an Alicia and there's a Fumi. And like Fumi's very
You know,
like.
so like, does Fumi mean Alicia? Or she
fun,
literally have
I
two
try to
different
be
names?
Very like conservative with like everything, but sometimes Alicia's just like, I don't care.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, then
Damn,
I
that's crazy,
prefer
that's crazy.
Alicia.
I figured you would. When I'm with you, I feel pretty like I'm being like my American self. Like, like if Hiroko says something and I disagree, I'd be like, yeah, but I disagree. But like with my Japanese friends, I'd be like, naruhodo, I see. Okay, yeah. So.
If you were like,
It's crazy.
if
It's
you
like
will
literally
have
two
the
different
chance
people.
and you can born again, would you want to be a half again?
I would say, I would say yes. Because, okay, how I think now, I've never once in my life blamed my parents for like having me be born half, right? I mean, a lot of halves look for something to blame. Why do I have to get this racism? Why do I have to get this like all of this, like, this difficulties, right?
From both sides.
But
yeah, that's
it's
tough.
really based, it's just society, really, you know? So if people would just, if a lot of other halves would understand, like, you shouldn't really be shouting at your parents. I know of some halves that actually, like, blame their parents, like, because, like, they don't want to have, like, they don't want to be different, you know?
I see. They want to feel like they belong.
They want to feel as if they belong.
Yeah.
But it's really, I would say, more like the society itself. Instead of, you shouldn't really blame your parents. You should just really accept the situation that you're in now and just accept who you really, like, just turned out to be. You can't really change that at this point. So that's why I would say, if I had a choice, I would still be half again. Because my whole mindset, like all of the way that I think now is just because of me being like half.
I think, yeah, I do. I do want to be a half again. I know that I had a lot of conflict between Korea and Japan, but I've been loved by Korean friends and also my Japanese friends and all the other countries. And I think I was able to do that because I was a half Korean and half Japanese. And also, there were my friends who didn't really like about Japan. But just because we got to be along, he started to like Japan. And he said that not all the Japanese people are like that, you know, like he starts to understand. And that's when I felt like this is something that we could do as a half, you know. I don't know, I'm not, this is kind of embarrassing, but I wish I could kind of be a bridge between Korea and Japan. I don't know, like, I wish the half Korean, half Japanese, not only half Korean, half Japanese, but the half kids to have a better life later on. And for that, like, it has to be, the world has to be more globalized, or internationalized. but I don't know what I can do for it, but I wish I could do something about it.
I see what he's saying.
Even a little part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today. It was
How come she didn't really answer
fun
the
to
question?
talk to you all. ありがとうございました。
That was a good video, bro. I messed with that. And like what the guy, like what the half Korean, half Japanese guy was saying when he was saying like how you could kind of bridge the two cultures, you know, countries, ethnicities through like to have children. I feel like that is something that's true. Obviously, it's not literally that easy to do, but I feel like that is a good step. You know, I'm not saying you should have half and half kids just for that reason or anything. You know, you love who you love, but like in that case, they really could, you know, help bridge that gap and help, you know, everybody see their differences pretty much, and also the similarities, because it would be like, okay, you have and half, he has both cultures within him, he can understand the differences and the similarities between the two, connect them and things like that. And there's like a lot of misunderstandings that go in, you know, different people from country to country, so like having that would kind of help clear that up. But also it depends on the people that are receiving the message also, because if they don't want to receive the message and they just gonna be like, yeah, you know, I ain't listening to no half breed or whatever, then that, you know what I'm saying, then it may not have that effect that you need. Watch, that's why he was also saying he doesn't know if he really would be able to do that or how he would do that. But yeah, that's true though. That's true though. Like, we can learn a lot, gain a lot of insight from, you know, biracial kids, biracial people, basically. Well, at least ones that have actually been exposed to both of their cultures, countries, ethnicities, whatever, and things of that nature. So I think that's cool and whatnot. Yeah, interesting video. I like that video. It was, you know what I'm saying, it was a good video. It was a really good video. What do y'all think though? Do y'all think, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to being, you know, interracial couples, you know what I'm saying, and having biracial kids, things like that, do y'all think globally that actually helps a lot? You know what I'm saying? Like on a big scale, do you think, I wouldn't say it is gonna solve all of our problems and differences, but do you think that it's a step towards doing that, having more interracial relationships and more biracial kids? You know, that's an interesting thing to think about. Me personally, I mean, like I said, you just need to understand a person. You don't necessarily have to have you know what I'm saying, interracial relationship or biracial kids to understand another person. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go to that length just to understand another culture or society or, you know what I'm saying, country, whatever. You can literally just do your own due diligence and, you know, learn about yourself. But, you know what I'm saying, with the half and half, that kind of, you know what I'm saying, pushes that, kind of puts it in the spotlight. Not really, I don't want to say forces it, but like it makes it seen 100%, you know what I'm saying? So, interesting thing to think about. But yeah, it's another good video. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, you know what I'm saying, enjoy that video, any part of it, reaction, whatever you may have liked, please, you know, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share the video with your family and friends. It helps me grow, you know what I'm saying, reach more people on this YouTube platform so that I can keep making better content and everything like that, and continue to, you know what I'm saying, get bigger. Because at the end of the day, growth is something that we all need and that we all want, or should at least. I don't know about y'all, but I never want to be in the same place, at least not for too long. But that's all I got. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna catch you guys next time. Peace, love, happiness, you know what I'm saying, spread all the way around. And remember this, bad vibes don't last, they always pass. Peace.
Bad vibes don't last, they always pass. Do you know?